A diary covered in hearts and butterflies, but inside, it's filled with dark secrets. Jennifer Fellows, no, Jessica Blute, writes her final thoughts, unsure if she'll survive. She apologizes to Andrew, knowing the truth about her crimes will soon be exposed. She wonders what nickname the media will give her. The murderess? Death Lady? None of it matters. This isn't just a confession, it's a reckoning. And if she lives, this diary will be nothing but ashes. We all have tasks we put off. Taxes, errands, revenge. Jennifer walks through the city, looking like anyone else. But in her mind, she's not just running errands, she's planning payback. Her 5 uncles butchered her father and ruined her mother's life. Now, it's their turn. Nearby, a thug pays off a bloodied girl, thinking no one will challenge him. But Jennifer saw. And he has no idea the kind of woman he's just dismissed. This isn't hesitation. It's just a matter of time.
You're the man, Mr. Cortland. At the gala, men in suits toast, laugh, and play their games. But for Jessie, it's just another night of pretending. A man kneels before her, joking. Your name must be Cleopatra Helicopter Smelly Pants. She giggles but rolls her eyes. No. Well, which part was wrong? All of them. Her father chuckles, but then his tone shifts. Business awaits. He sends her away, back into the world of innocence, while he deals with Uncle Wendell. Years later, she'd learn which uncles were real and which ones were killers. When I say friends, I mean men who worked for my father and were probably terrified of him. But not Wendell Cortland. If my family were a band, he'd be the 5th Beatle. The one who almost made it. A lot of men wanted that position. But Cortland? He earned it. Uncle Wendell, he was always sweet to me. He made me laugh. One time, I broke a vase at Uncle Jimmy's house. Wendell took the blame. That was the kind of man he was. I had a little crush on him for a long time after that. Tailing someone without being seen is tricky. Doing it alone? 10 times harder. Tasha, you need at least 3 guys, taking turns. One moves ahead, the others watch for changes. Ain't you talking notes? Jessie, I've got a good memory. Tasha, if you're on your own, you gotta pull way back, but keep watching. Gotta drive casual, like you don't even know he's there. For the book. My crime novel. Tasha, right. Tasha Henderson was a former cop. Couldn't quite get the hang of the don't be permanently drunk on the job rule. She couldn't remember my name from one minute to the next, but she was a pretty good teacher. Tasha, now, he's gonna be even more cautious when he gets close to his destination. That's how you're gonna know. He's gonna slow down, start looking around more. Studwick Grove. Not more than a dozen houses, widely spaced. Expensive. Andrew and I checked it out when we were looking to buy a place. Just for fun, of course. There was no way we could afford anything like that. As far as Andrew knew. Man in car, I'll only be a couple of minutes, honey. Me and Uncle Wendell have some business to do. Cortland liked big houses, but never owned one. Always preferred to rent, because he could never settle down. We visited him maybe 5 or 6 times, each time in a different place. Tasha, now, when you mark gets ta his destination, you're gonna feel the urge ta check it out. Just ta be sure. You wanna resist that urge. Henderson was usually right. You don't go straight to the Mark's house, you bide your time. Wait until he's dropped his guard. But this was different. This was Wendell Cortland. Cortland was a wetwork specialist. The Blutes used him when they wanted something particularly nasty done. They used a lot of guys like him. And Cortland was the worst, for one simple reason. He did it because he liked it. They all enjoyed their work, of course. But he was different from the rest. The Blutes didn't have to pay Uncle Wendell to murder and torture people. He did it for nothing. The funny thing is, I hadn't thought about Cortland in years. Not until I was building my little hidey hole. Cortland had been a master carpenter. He and his guys had outfitted the kitchen back home. That's how he met my dad. I remember thinking that he'd know how to do this properly. Seeing him in town yesterday, so close to my home, to my family, my first thought was that he'd come for me. But if he'd known who I was, I'd already be dead. Sometimes, you can only put things off for so long. Jessie stares at the weapons, silent, steady. No hesitation. Cut to dinner. Warm light, the clatter of plates. A different world. Hey, Poodle. Good day. Meh. The usual. Margot says we're getting new neighbors. A casual chat. Jobs lost, families moving, life going on. But Jessie's mind is elsewhere. What's a great skewer? A bird, honey. Her husband laughs. Their son barely listens. She grips the rifle tighter. Because some things you don't put off. Not forever. Alice. She's so sweet. I just pray she doesn't follow in my footsteps. A dinner table conversation, a harmless request. Can we get a cat? No, honey. Cats kill birds. Your dad wouldn't like that. That was one of the things about Andrew that first drew me to him. A memory. Andrew, careful, gentle, tending to a wounded animal. He was the first man I knew whose instinct was to save, not to end. Back to the present. Alice asks again. Andrew barely looks up from his plate. Ask your mom. Jessie watches him. The man who once saved creatures now barely listens to his own daughter. Attention span of a gnat. Nighttime rituals. There's something comforting about them. A routine, clothes off, teeth brushed, a rinse if needed. The day's tensions and pretensions, good one, are stripped away. For a moment, it's just the two of them. No distractions. No masks. Just skin, warmth, routine. And what's left is the simple, honest truth. A glance in the mirror. A reflection she barely recognizes. The core of a relationship. If Cortland wasn't here for me, then I needed to know why he was. The Blutes' fat hands in every pocket, every deal. Step out of line, they take their cut. Step too far, they take fingers. Keep pushing, they take family. They don't just own the city. They own cities. Countries. Borders mean nothing. Tracking them is one thing. Getting to them? That'll be murder. The hunt is set. The target is clear. Violence isn't the answer. It's the language. And I'm fluent. No more waiting. No more running. Time to finish this. I told myself I had reasons. Good ones. That's why I waited. That's why I ran. But the truth? I was terrified. Weak. Untrained. Out of my depth. So I learned. To fight. To shoot. And I found the people who could teach me. The more I learned about my uncles, the worse they became. At first, I thought they were just thugs. Then I learned they were gangsters. And, finally, crime lords. Every time I pulled at a thread, the web stretched farther than I ever imagined. To stop them, I couldn't just be strong. I had to be unstoppable. Ruthless. And the best teachers? The very men I was training to kill. As I neared Cortland's house, I had a rare moment of clarity, like seeing myself through a stranger's eyes. What the hell am I even doing? 12 years since Jessica Blute died, and in that time, I've built an arsenal, stockpiled intel, trained myself into something lethal. But in all those years, I haven't made a single move. Not one. Even this, just more surveillance. More files. More waiting. Will I ever use any of it? Or is this just my version of a midlife crisis? In another life, maybe I'd be having an affair with the pool boy. Or sneaking top-shelf vodka instead of secrets. I was starting to think I should quit all this. Take up knitting, maybe taxidermy. Hell, even birdwatching. Then I figured I'd at least check if my bionic ear was picking up anything. Mike Blute isn't king. This guy is. Or at least, he thinks he is. Chain of command. Politics. A room full of men talking tough, trying to keep their house in order while the walls rot from the inside. That was the last moment of my old life. What I heard next changed everything. All of them. In one location. At the same time. It wasn't the first time, of course. But it had been years since they were all together. There was always one or two in Central America, Europe, Asia. Once, there were families. Honor. A code. But the Blutes? They don't honor. They don't respect. Carmine, come on. You're talking to me. Cut the Godfather act. You got busted selling dime bags to high schoolers. If you want to take them down, you do it all at once. One or two. The rest will scatter like cockroaches. You'll never see them again. I should have paid more attention. I assumed everyone in the house was staying there. I recognized Hooper. His son Cody, I think, is in Mark's school. I've seen him picking the kid up a couple of times. So, what are you gonna do to Gunsick? Then crack. Fuck. What the hell is that? Shit. And just like that, it just occurred to me. That was my first ever real fight. I did pretty well, I guess. I stayed cool, kept my focus. I mean, there was 2 of them. And they were trying to kill me. And I didn't die. So, technically, I won. I felt rather proud of myself.
Bitch.
For a few seconds, I got lucky. Cortland didn't notice. I had already slipped Hooper's knife into my belt.
Who the fuck are you? You spying on us?
No. No. Sent to protect you.
Dumb, I know, but it was all I could think of to make him hesitate.
You expect me to? Art! Fuck!
I panicked. I should have grabbed his gun. I should have finished all 3 of them right there. But instead, I ran. I didn't look back. They'd search the area. They'd find my gun and equipment. Nothing to lead them back to me, but still.
It wasn't a total loss. I found out that all 5 of my uncles would be in the same place at the same time.
In Japan. All right. Hey, then I'll sleep by your side. My back hurts where I fell. My elbow is still stinging, long sleeves for the next few days, I think. And the back of my head is sore. I'm sure Cortland ripped out a good handful of hair. Must make an appointment with Marie to get it cut short. Don't want that to happen again. If all of Dad's brothers are here, I have a chance. I can do this. It has to be over and done fast. I can't give them enough time to run and hide.
Mom, I had a real scary dream last night.
Oh, poor pet. You okay?
It's been 12 years since I swore I'd get revenge for what they did to my parents.
Yeah, but I went into you and Daddy to tell you, and you weren't there, Mom. I even looked outside, and your car was gone.
You must have dreamed that part 2, honey.
No, Daddy, I was really awake. Where did you go, Mom? Mom?
Got a few things to sort out first, though.